I tell you something? Abu Abdullah, before Karbala, had displayed every attribute. Before Karbala, the difference on the 10th of Muharram is they all came together in one day. Before Karbala, on Karbala we always say Imam Hussain was generous, don't we? On the 10th of Muharram. Imam Hussain years before Karbala showed his generosity. Usama ibn Zayd, when Rasulullah was about to die, he told the companions, go under the leadership of 18-year-old Usama. You remember? 18-year-old Usama, leave Medina with his army. This Usama bin Zayd, the companions didn't join him. This Usama bin Zayd was at Ghadir when he saw Rasulullah say, Man kuntu mawla, fahada aliyum mawla. Do you know after Rasulullah died, they'd come to Usama, was Ali ibn Abi Talib chosen by Rasulullah or no? He said, I don't want to get involved in these things. At the Battle of Jamal, they said to Usama, Usama, who's right, Ali or them? I don't want to get involved. I don't know, I'm not sure. At Siffin, Usama, who's right, Ali or Muawiyah? I don't know, maybe they're both good. Ali and Muawiyah are both good. At Nahrawan, Usama, who's on the right? This is a lesson for all of us. When you see injustice, don't say, you know what, I prefer not to get involved. Get involved and say who's the truth with. Because you may be the cause of dissension in history because of your silence. At the end, we don't remember the words of our enemies. We remember the silence of our friends. When this Usama was dying, he had a 60,000 dinar debt on his shoulders. Do you know who the only person he could think of to pay it back for him was? Hussein ibn Ali. Tell me, if your father, every time it was his haqq, you just want people to speak out for your father, and you know how much he loved his father. Every time people abuse your father's right, you see this person who saw your father was on the truth and remained silent, and now Usama says, please bring Hussein, please bring Hussein. So Imam al-Hussein comes. He sees Usama lying on the bed. He says to him, Usama, what's wrong? He says, Hussein, please forgive me. Your dad was chosen on the day of Ghadir. I saw in my own eyes. And at Jamal, I knew he was right. In my own heart, I knew. Because I heard Rasulullah say Ali is with the truth and the truth is with Ali. And at Siffin I said, I don't know if Ali or Muawiyah is right, and I know Ali ibn Abi Talib is in the heavens whereas Muawiyah is on the earth. Hussein, I'm in trouble, please. He said, what is it? He said, I have 60,000 dinar debt, please help me. Abu Abdullah said, Usama, do not worry. You are remorseful over your stand, I don't mind. May Allah forgive you. He turned around to the person next to him, he said, please come and pay 60,000 dinar for Usama. That generosity, others will not display today. If my father's hat is taken in the community, I tell you, I will keep it on my shoulder for the rest of my life. They didn't allow my father to become president. They didn't allow him to become chairman. They didn't allow him to serve water. They didn't allow him to carry, I don't know, some sort of instrument. I will keep it on my shoulder for the rest of my life. Imam al-Hussein was so generous. He looked at Usama, he said, Usama, don't worry. You may not have stood with my father, but I feel you are hurt. I'll pay the 60,000 dinar from me. Generosity. Number two, Uthman was alone in his house. The Muslims were attacking him. Who do you think it was who stood by the door of Uthman to protect him so that the Muslims are not disunited? Who was it? Hassan and Hussein. They stood at the door of Uthman. Do you know what they could have said? Uthman mistreated Abu Dhar. Uthman mistreated Abdullah bin Mas'ud. Uthman took our dad's leadership. No. We don't want disunity to occur between the Muslims. Let us remove and be tolerant. And they were the ones who stood at the door of Uthman. They were the ones who gave water to Uthman while Muslims were attacking him. And do you know what the sad thing later on is? They say Ali ibn Abi Talib is the cause of Uthman's death. Ali ibn Abi Talib sent Hussein to stand for Uthman, to be there at the door. Even if I differ with Uthman politically, at the end of the day, Muslims should not take it in their own hands to come and stab another human being. There is a particular legal system and there's a particular courtroom. That's number two. Number three, his generosity when it came to his knowledge. Before Karbala, do you know how many great hadiths we have from Imam Hussain? I tell you, ask any Muslim, tell me one hadith of Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain says, I heard from my grandfather Rasulullah saying that the best quality of a Muslim is that he speaks little about a topic that does not concern him. How many of us have to get involved in every topic, isn't it? Every topic. People who concern us, don't concern us, we have to get involved. Habib, it's none of your business. Stay out. Stay out. No, I want to get involved. Rasulullah, Imam Hussain said, I heard Rasulullah say that the best quality of a Muslim is what? Is that he speaks less about a topic that does not concern him. Then he says, I heard my father Amir al-Mu'mineen say, please listen to this unbelievable narration. I heard my father Amir al-Mu'mineen say, I am surprised at the human being who refrains from food due to fear of illness but does not refrain from sin even though he knows about hellfire. We refrain from food because we're scared of illness, but we don't refrain from sin because we're not scared of hell. I am surprised at the one who refrains from food due to fear of illness, but does not refrain from sin even though he knows about hellfire. You would find that he provided, and that's why one example of Imam al-Hussain, years before Karbala, a young man comes up to Imam al-Hussain and says, Imam al-Hussain, I can't stop sinning, and I'm just going to have to continue. What do I do? Give me some advice. Imam al-Hussain said, keep sinning. He said, sorry? He said, keep sinning. He said, Imam Hussain, I came to you for advice, you tell me keep sinning? He said, yes, keep sinning. But there are 5 conditions when you sin. Sin! But the first condition is sin in the place where Allah cannot see you. Sin! But sin in the place where Allah cannot see you. Condition number 1. He said, Abu Abdullah, Allah can see me everywhere. He said, okay. Condition number 2, sin. But don't sin on God's earth. Go and build your own earth and sin there. Number 3, sin. But don't use Allah's rizq as the energy to sin. Number 4, sin. But when the angel of death comes to take your soul away, don't say it's not the time. Number 5, sin. But when you're punished in the fire of hell, don't say, I shouldn't be here, get me out. If you've passed these 5 conditions, continue sinning, there's no problem. The person said, Ya Abu Abdullah, I'm never going to sin again after that. Because it's impossible to go through those conditions. You had that generosity that came with him, with his knowledge. Even you had the self-sacrifice of Imam al-Hussain. That's arguably the greatest moment of self-sacrifice before Karbala was related to Karbala. Someone says, how? Before Karbala and the battle of Nahrawan, you find even before this there was a moment of generosity. That's when Imam al-Hussain asked the teacher. He said to the teacher called Abu Abdurrahman al-Salami, teach my son how to recite Quran. When that teacher finished reciting Quran, teaching the kid how to recite Quran, Imam al-Hussain saw his son saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Imam got so much pearls and clothes and he gave it to the teacher. People came and said, Abu Abdullah, all this person did was teach your son how to recite Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and you give him this much hadiyah? To which he replied, what I give him is never enough because of the person who teaches my son how to mention Allah's name. It can never be enough. That person taught my son Bismillah, whatever I give him is not enough. Then on top of that, the great self-sacrifice when you see someone come to him when his father died. Imagine when your father's died and someone comes up to you from Syria. He sees you. He says, what's your name? He says, Hussein. Son of who? He says, son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, may Allah curse you and curse your father Ali. If someone talked like that to you, how would you reply back to him? May Allah curse you and your father. The guy's name was Asam ibn Mustalaq. Imam said, is the wind of this area hurting you? Or maybe you've had a disagreement with your wife. Is there a shelter for you to stay in? Or has no one provided you with clothing? Please come and stay in my house if you are a stranger in this area. Wallah, that person began to cry. He said, Aba Abdullah, I cursed your father in front of you, and this is the way you reply back to me, by making your house available for you? He said, this is the family of Rasulullah and the way we treat people. People may come and curse us, but we come back with morals, because our grandfather Rasulullah came to perfect the morals of mankind. And that's why I will never forget the greatest self-sacrifice before Karbala. Notice none of these stories have anything to do with Karbala. Before Karbala and the battle of Nahrawan, the soldiers who were caught by Ali ibn Abi Talib were standing there. One of the soldiers, you all know him very well. He was fighting Ali ibn Abi Talib on that day. He had some rope around his hands. It wasn't too tight, but it was around the hands. Imam Hussain was walking past, he saw that soldier. And the soldier looked at him and said, Hussain, I beg you, please remove this rope from around my hand, because the rope is causing nervousness in me. Remove it. And I'm asking you. Imam al-Hussain went back to his father. He said, oh my father, I'd like a favor from you. He said, what is it? He said, this person over there, do you see him? He said, yes, I see him. He said, he says to me, the rope is tight around his hand, even though you will never put a tight rope, but it seems to have been hurting him. And he asked me to remove it. Oh my father, do you allow me? He looked at him and he said, Aba Abdullah, go ahead. Aba Abdullah, why do you want to answer this? He said, Father, when someone asks through me, how can I reject? I don't want the person to be embarrassed. When you realize who this person is, that's when you realize how magnanimous a man this man is. He went back to the person, he said, give me your hands. And he removed the ropes from the hands of Shimr bin Dil Jawshan. Tell me, which mercy did he show to you when he sat on your chest on the afternoon in Karbala? This man, you remove a rope from his hand because when a person asks you, you do not want to embarrass them. And that is the same man who sits on your chest on the 10th of Muharram. That's Hussain. Before Karbala, not one mention in our lectures of Aba Abdullah before Karbala. This is Aba Abdullah before Karbala. And that's why the 10th of Muharram wasn't Imam al-Hussain. Imam al-Hussain for years had displayed these attributes. Karbala was when all of them came together on one day. Generosity with knowledge and forgiveness and humility and care and honor and dignity. That Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi, who was a commander of the opposition, who had blocked water from the children of Hussain, and yet the forgiving heart of Aba Abdullah forgives him.